Hi, Troy.
Hello.
How are you?
Awesome.
That's great. How are you holding up?
I'm fine. You
Yeah?
didn't see my last post?
Oh, yeah, I see you living your
I'm
life.
straight.
That's great.
And it don't affect me at all.
Great. That's good. It's affecting a lot of people. So when people are pretty in a good state of mind, that's like good to have.
Yeah.
All right. So the key things I want to touch on is your single that you have that has been out very recently, "Nasty" with LilDuval. I think I watched
hmm
your video like 3 or 4 times. I thought it was really cool. And we'll talk about your process and how you get with these artists. How do you negotiate even having your beats used, or how do they reach out to you and say, actually, we want this? Do they make you reformulate all those things? So a little bit more of an insightful piece.
Well, for Duval, I was asked to help him vocal produce him on a song that he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So the label asked me to do that. He comes here in the studio,
Mm-hmm.
and come to find out, we are actually born on the same day.
Oh,
So it
wow.
was like Gemini, June 12th, like, whoa. So that kind of like added to it. But
Yeah.
because I got him to sound pretty good on that particular record, they didn't end up using that record. But in that session, I ended up playing Nasty.
Okay.
And so when he heard it, he was like, yo, I want to get on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the record for 2 years, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had played it for Trey 2 years prior to, he was like, yo, you should play that for Jaquees.
Okay.
So when Duval did it, I was like, yo, let's see if we can get Jaquees on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we ended up doing. I asked Jaquees, he asked Jaquees,
Mm-hmm.
and Jaquees, took a while before we could kind of get him in here, but we finally did it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was slated for Jamie Foxx.
Okay.
So I put the piano. It didn't have that part in it
Mm-hmm.
when Duval first did it. So I made a bridge, and because Jamie plays the piano,
Right.
I added the piano in it for the bridge, and then put it for that. And then Duval didn't end up getting a chance to get to Jamie, but he got to Tank first.
Mm.
So Tank heard it and was like, "Nah,
Yeah, he was going off
I
with
want to get
that
on." Yeah,
one. No
yeah,
doubt.
he wasn't having it. So,
Mm-hmm.
so that's how that pretty much came about.
Okay. That's fantastic. So when you are developing the music, what state of mind are you in?
It's more so, what am I trying to accomplish?
Mm-hmm.
Am I trying to accomplish a traditional R&B record,
Mm-hmm.
or am I trying to incorporate my generation and the generation of now to try to make sure that it hits like today, but the arrangements are like my R&B arrangements?
Right.
And so that's what brings me to the mayor of R&B, like inserting myself in today's generation to incorporate what my knowledge is of R&B into the R&B of now,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can kind of get a little bit more arrangements, a little bit more background vocals and changes, bridges again. We don't hear bridges in music today.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what I'm thinking. Like, how do I keep it fresh, but at the same time classic?
What do you say the difference is between old school R&B, soul music, and what is considered new school R&B?
I think the major difference is old school soul music was more from the soul.
Mm-hmm.
This soul music is more for the perception of
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
the soul, the
Mm-hmm.
perception of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't be too soulful with autotune.
Okay. That is a
What
fact.
makes it soulful is the grit and the falling off the notes and kind of being flat sometimes based off of what you're saying. If the song is sad, you have to have some type of
The
sadness in your voice.
inflection of
Back in the
it.
day, that's what
Mm-hmm.
they did.
Right.
But today, because of autotune, it doesn't allow you to fall a certain type of way because it
Mm-hmm.
it keeps you up. So
Yeah.
you kind of sound more sterile, emotionless, not
Mm-hmm.
so much. There's not an emotion coming out of you because the autotune won't allow it.
Okay.
So though the lyrics they try to write emotional, they try to write soulful, but then it doesn't come off authentically that way with as long as the autotune is on it.
Right. That's understood. When you put out a song and you see that an artist is more comfortable with using auto-tune, do you have a say-so in how you would like the music to go about, or do you just kind of have to sit back and let them do it their way?
I do. I bridge the gap.
Okay.
Like I compromise and decide which is, matters. Maybe the hook can just be like the auto tune, the part where everybody sing along with, and maybe the verses could be a little bit less auto tune and more personality.
Okay. Who do you think is your best experience that you've worked with that have taught you something about yourself while creating?
But probably have to say ArethaFranklin.
ArethaFranklin?
Yeah, because I never dreamed of working with her.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a fan since I could remember, but I didn't think I would work with her, with the Queen of Soul, like never. But working with her, I realized what it means to really be prepared. Mm-hmm. She knew the lyrics. She knew the melody. She didn't have to read off of a sheet. She knew what she was going to do with it already.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm so used to, the kids coming in and not knowing the lyrics, line by line in it, and what I learned is I learned, that's why you're the Queen of Soul. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's the difference between yesteryear and today. They knew the records going in, so they added personality to it because they didn't have to read it.
Right.
And now the kids, either they freestyle it or they one-line it, line by line.
Okay, cut, let's start that over. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
That is like, I can't even think of anything that can compare to being in the studio with the Queen of Soul. Rest in peace, ArethaFranklin.
The next thing after that would be Whitney.
Oh, I was hoping that came up. Yes. Can you please tell us
Whitney
about
was
that experience?
Whitney was hilarious, and I have a recording, me recording her that I did in 2003 of me recording her on the Christmas project that she did, and you could hear her like cursing me out and going off on me because I was so so hard on her. Uh-huh. But not in a bad way, but in a funny way, because she was
like, oh my God, okay, type of way.
She was super hood and she was high.
Yeah.
So she was
okay.
So she was all out. It was like raw. But what I love about that is that recording is mine. Nobody in the whole wide universe, not on Mars, not on Venus,
has access.
Nowhere on Earth has access to that.
That's good. Ownership is key.
Yes. And that's that's my personal moment with Whitney. Mm-hmm. So that's what's special about it.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people chose to monetize off of those sentimental moments with some artists that have passed away. So it's pretty nice to see people who actually just honor their existence rather than exploit it. So that says a lot about your character as a creative and a person in general.
Yeah, no, I can't. That's too personal for me. Mm-hmm. I do let people hear it, but in like more so in an intimate setting.
Right. Nothing that can be exchanged. That's fair. How would you say you became Troy, the super producer? Like, where was your beginning?
My beginning was I was an artist first, and so upon going the artist route, signing to an independent label, then getting bought onto Motown. And then in the course of that, working with like Boyz II Men, and the group Today. There was a group called Today with Big Bub, Chief, Love, and Wes. I found it more interesting for me to be able to do what I love behind the scenes more so in front of the scene.
Why was that?
Or on the scene. Because my personality is too raw. And in other words, you got to play the game when you're an artist, because if you don't play the game, they're not going to play your record.
Okay.
You can't be too raw. They're gonna turn it into a meme, and it's gonna mess up your. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they're gonna turn it into a thing. They're gonna take what they want from it, and they're gonna make it into whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and even though that wasn't that way back then, if I went to the radio station and they asked me something and they try to be funny or whatever, I'm gonna snap back. So you can't do that.
You're like, I know you're trying me right now, and I'm not gonna be PC with you. Be
right, and then now they're not gonna play my record, and the record company's gonna be, why was you like that? You didn't have to answer that. You didn't have to. See, and I'm like, nah, I'm not playing that game. Right. So I rather be behind the scenes, go wherever I want. I don't got to worry about, I got to turn it on because I'm going to the mall now.
Oh, okay.
I could just go to the mall.
Yeah, honestly, so, you don't have people, trying you in your comments, because I feel like a lot of things that we see with newcoming celebrities who are not used to just having everyone in their business, is really hard to get past that. Like, you really have the audacity to say that and comment it. So I understand what you would mean with wanting to have like the security of the being able to express yourself without a filter at times.
Yeah.
That is really cool. What did you see in these new artists that you have, and what makes you want them to succeed?
Well, then that brings up my purpose in life. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a purpose. Mm-hmm. One of my gifts that God has blessed me with is to be able to see something in its purest, roughest form, and see what it can be. Mm-hmm. But not only just see what it can be, but actually groom it to get there. Mm-hmm. And not only just see it and groom it, but to polish it.
Right.
And not only but to see it and groom it and polish it, but to actually bring it to the forefront and to what it's, and not only just seeing it, grooming it, polishing it, bringing it to the forefront, but actually seeing it all the way to stardom. Uh-huh. You know what I mean? And so some people could discover it, they could see it, but they don't know how to build it. Some people can see it, discover it, but they, build it up, but they don't know how to polish it. So there are things I've been blessed to be able to do it all in one. So it's not my gift if it's somebody else's, if God gave them, but God gave me the ability to be able to take their gift and set it up for what he had for it.
Okay.
I don't know what the end result will be for them, but I have, God has given me a great position to be able to take their talent that he gave them and set it up and help it build this platform so that whatever he's going to do in their life, he used me to get it started.
When you do that, and by having like this natural intuition towards it, do you take responsibility for polishing maybe life choices that people make? Like I personally have seen a lot of people who take a managerial role for an artist, and they focus so much on the perspective that other people see them as, or the persona that they put out, but they don't actually take time to care for the actual individual first to actually develop this artist that they believe that they can be. Do you feel that you take that into account?
Well, that I start with life first.
Okay.
Before you're an artist, you're a man or woman.
Right.
If you don't know how to be a man or woman, you're not going to know how to be an artist.
Right.
Most people try to skip over that so they could just be an artist. It's like, no. Okay, so, for example, if you're a liar now and you become an artist, you're just going to be a lying artist.
A lying artist, yeah.
If you become a star, you're just going to be a lying artist that's a star.
Right. With some arrogance on top.
I handle everything personally to how to walk, how to talk, how to sit, how to present yourself, how to carry yourself. You know what I mean? Because before you become that artist, you got to learn this stuff first.
Right.
People, you got to walk a certain way and be like, hey, you an artist? They should be able to see it without you saying a word.
Right.
The only way you're going to learn how to... Yeah. So I focus on that first part because you got to know who you are before you get in it, because if you don't know who you are, they will tell you who you are, and then you'll feel compelled to be who they say you are,
right?
And then you'll discover who you are, and then you'll be like, "That's not me," and they'll be like, "Yes, it is you."
Right.
Be like, "No,
and
this is me."
And then everyone crashes, and then people start to act out because they can't find themselves anymore.
Exactly.
Right. That's a very important step that I think a lot of people seem to oversee now, because now everything is about now. And
the perception and, you know, I'm really dope, but I'm not dope. But I'm really dope. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you look like you could be dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah. Not with me. I can't do that. If it's not right, if it's not ready, I can't do it.
What do you what would you say that was your longest time maybe holding a project back or kind of putting something on hold because you feel like it was underdeveloped or maybe not to your standards at the time?
I would have to say when Elijah Blake, before he became Elijah Blake, he was Red Styles.
Okay.
And so I had him at that stage from 14, 15 to, for a while. And it was like the nicest kid in the world, also a Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Dang it. We get along, someone was calling me. We get along very, very well. However, he really wanted to sing a certain type of way that was like way over the top of what was necessary.
Right.
And it's like he and I, we are just really so cool, but he would not listen to me when it came to that. And so therefore he made it longer to the point where I had to send him back home.
Oh.
And then because he's from Florida,
mm-hmm.
he went home, and then he went to LA
mm-hmm.
and became Elijah Blake. Called me 4:00 in the morning, like, what do you think about Elijah Blake? I'm like, who's that?
Me.
like, no, my name. Like, what are you talking about? Because I'm half asleep.
Right.
He's like, what do you think about, me changing my name to Elijah Blake? And I'm like, sounds like a movie actor, actually. But I think it can work. It sounds good.
So, yeah.
And so, he went on to be, a great writer with Climax and other hits and Jupiter Love for TreySongz.
Song.
So he went on to it, but I never really got the chance to see the artistry of him all the way through.
Okay. Can you just brag to us for a bit some of the hits that you've made?
I don't like to brag.
You gotta let us know though.
Records that I've done that, some of the records that I've done, like one of my favorites, Why I Love You by B2K. Mm-hmm. I love that song. I love that song. Mm-hmm. Sweet Lady, of course. Neighbors Know My Name, Love Faces. I can always jump to Trey.
I always hit up the Trey songs. Yeah.
Right. So those songs, because they are the true essence of who I am and what I do.
Okay.
Also, Just Came Here to Chill with the IsleyBrothers, 2006. Mm-hmm. That, to me, I love. Now, a lot of people don't know about that, mm-hmm. but it's like they don't know about it until they hear it, until it comes on. But that was everything to me, because when I was young, I remember hearing the IsleyBrothers on the radio. Mm-hmm. So that classic voice, being able to work with that voice, was everything.
It's like a phenomenal experience.
Mm-hmm.
When these people who you admire get ready to come into the studio session, what is your mind at when they're coming in? Like, are you more focused on the production of getting it done? Are you also excited because of who it is? How do you kind of keep yourself focused to make the best piece possible?
My first thing is I have to make sure that they do not sound whack. You can't sound whack on my record.
Right.
No. So mm-hmm. I'm just as hard. I don't let their status of who they are change the way I produce.
Okay.
And you can ask Patti LaBelle, because I kill her.
Like, you was like, no.
But she's a Gemini too.
Okay.
And so,
she
get it, but mm-hmm. she really respects that I pull it out of her and not get intimidated by who she is.
Right.
So, my main thing is, you're known to be dope. You are not going to sound whack on my song. So we got to get this right. Because I don't want nobody to be like, they were good, but your song, they didn't sound the same.
Right,
no.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Especially if you have such a huge artist like that, you want to make sure that it's the record of their main catalog, the lifelong songs.
Yep.
If there was an artist that you could pick out from today and someone from the past or who may have passed away, if you could collaborate them two together on a track, do you know who those two people would be?
That's a very interesting question, and then one question that has never been asked. Somebody today that I could go back and get someone who's passed away and put them together.
Mm-hmm. Let that one sink in.
That's a very interesting. Someone today, and then get someone who's passed away, and get them to. I have it. I just gotta wait. I got it. I got it. Hello. Ooh, that's a good one. I got the today. I gotta get the passed away. Who's passed away? I got a passed away, but then it doesn't match with my today.
There's a lot of talent that's no longer here.
Yeah, but I'm very picky on the people that I admire and listen to. Okay, I'll tell you this. My passed away that I was thinking is Luther Vandross.
Yeah.
Putting my today, I don't know who to put with Luther because Luther is a one-of-a-kind voice. Yeah, so it's like today, nah, none of y'all niggas could. Yeah, none of y'all niggas can mess with him. So I don't even want to insult his tone with today's, because they're gonna need auto-tune. He's not.
Right. Yeah.
So,
that is a fact.
You know, so I'd have to think about that. That's a good question, and I'm definitely gonna have to think about that.
When you think about it, we're gonna come back to it, and we're gonna figure out what that.
Because I can get one. I can get it. I just got to put a little bit more thought into it. That's a very deep. Yeah, that's a very. I can't play with that question. I can't give you like a surface answer. I got to kind of like brainstorm.
Do you think the challenge with the question is respect level versus catalog?
No, the thing is tone. You're putting a classic tone with an auto-tune tone of today.
Okay. Yeah.
Because even though there are artists that don't know how to, they don't all use auto-tune, and it's not all auto-tune-y. Yeah. It's still the sauce.
Okay.
So it's the sauce. It's still the sauce, even though it's not a part. It's not even whether you need it anymore. It's the sauce. It's an effect now that just keeps it current. So it's more so that than anything. I just got it. I'm gonna get somebody.
I'm excited. Okay, I got another crazy question for you. We have a decent amount, not a lot as the past, of very powerful vocal singing women who have sang live. I know that you were able to put auto-tune on the microphones, but they have done covers of some of our well-known and honorable women singers such as ArethaFranklin and Patti LaBelle. So when you have powerful vocalists such as like a JessieJ or a JenniferHudson or even an ArianaGrande, do you feel that there is a difference in tone because of the decade that we're in and how they choose to sing a soul song? Or do you think it's an experience grit that is missing, that has the natural soul in it?
Well, remember, the main part of that question and my answer is the sauce. JessieJ doesn't need auto-tune. Ariana doesn't need auto-tune. JenniferHudson doesn't need auto-tune. Who else did you name?
Just the three.
None of those artists that you just named needs auto-tune. But it's the sauce. Right. So it gives it, but if they're on their IG live and they're singing, you appreciate that person that's singing live on their IG mixed with ArethaFranklin. That's where it becomes. But a lot of them don't feel as confident if they don't have the sauce on it.
Okay.
They feel more comfortable if the sauce is on it.
How do you think one could get the sauce?
The sauce the sauce is the auto-tune.
Okay.
You know, they feel a little bit more comfortable.
Like if they miss
with
that pitch just a little bit, it's caught.
just a little bit, the auto-tune will catch it. When there's the older, you know, the legends, the icons, that was part of the emotion. So sometimes I have a hard time trying to get younger kids to understand when it's okay to sound vulnerable.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because they think everything has to sound perfect, and I'm like, you don't even live a perfect life. Why are you trying to sound perfect?
That is a very fair fact. That is
Yeah.
very fair.
So yeah, so it's hard but they're used to the sauce. That's what's on the radio. That's what they want to sound like.
Do you find it a challenge to create different music or to return to me personally? I'm a '94 baby. I'm young, and I love the R&B that I grew up on, and that was a lot of heavy TreySongz, and we had Mario, and we had Usher, and I feel like I think YoungMA has said so that there is no division anymore between R&B and every other genre anymore. It's all kind of meshing together. Do you have any thoughts on that?
You know, it's funny. YoungMA has said a couple of things that really have sparked people and got them in their feelings. But I understand what she's talking about. She's missing the authentic R&B that the '90s presented. That this generation samples from, but they don't know how to capture the emotion of it.
Right.
And again, that's why me as the mayor of R&B,
the mayor of R&B, I like that.
who started in the '90s. Actually, February 11th, 1990 is my official day that I left home and moved to New York. So that's what I'm offering, to bring in my experience and of the '90s feel into today's time.
Okay, I can get with that. Now, since you mentioned the start date, the official start date, it has just passed, so you've had your start date anniversary.
30th.
So, happy belated anniversary with that.
Thank you.
Let me know. You know, there's steps to get to where you've gotten to. You have an insane amount of success. How did you get yourself in the position that you're in today, starting at very simply where you began as a child and navigating into the music industry?
Well, just, you know, first of all, I knew that I wanted to do music at around the age of, I would say, 14. That's when I knew I wanted to do it for a living. I didn't know how, be an artist, writing or producing, whatever the case, doing talent shows in high school, loving the attention of the chicks and getting the rewards of, you know, the attention, all going into, I don't see anything else I could do that will make me happy, and that even when it's hard, I'm still okay with doing it because I love it. So just going really hard on what I know I can do and perfect and be good at every aspect of it. That determination, that assurance, and that confidence is what kept me going, even through the divorce that I was going through when I was making the Ready album. Which was the hardest part of the point in my life. Like I've never experienced anything that detrimental and draining to my inner person. I was really, really not in a good mental space. But because this was Trey's third album, and because this was a very important album, I had to tuck those emotions away to stay sane, because it was hard.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was really, because it wasn't my divorce. So it was like, when it's not your divorce, it's like you're trying to save the marriage and you can't because they got their mind made up. And then at the same time, you got this artist who is depending on you to blow them up. You know what I mean? Like help them, you know. So God and I, we really had.
He had you.
I was really angry. I was really, I felt like he wasn't getting her. He was letting her get away. But in the end, of course, him being God, he knew I would be okay. He knew that Ready would be a classic to this day, 11 years later. He knew that my son and I would have a great relationship regardless. Because that was one of my concerns. He was 8 years old. He's 20 now, and we're great. So he knew that we would be okay. I didn't. But now when people talk about Ready, it's like all I think about is the divorce I was going through. Like,
right. A tribulation in life.
Yeah. So being able to go through all of that and still stay true to what I said I wanted to do, you have to have that ability to do that, because now today, because of Instagram, because of social media, kids break so easily when it doesn't work or when it doesn't look the way they thought it would look. They give up on it so easily, and so they never see it through.
Do you think with that people are choosing a algorithm type of route in order to get their success and just work on everything else later? Yeah,
for sure.
And do you see that being more of a positive or a negative?
I see it being, I don't know if it's going to be a negative or positive. I think it works for some people and it doesn't work for others.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I've noticed a lot of people recently have been making music that is more so catered to the younger generation in order to formulate a dance. Do you think that is taking away from the creativity of the music?
I think it's taken away from not necessarily the creativity of the music, but how an artist is discovered or signed.
Okay.
Because now it's like they look at your TikTok. If your TikTok doesn't have numbers, no matter how dope you are, you got to get in TikTok. No matter how dope you are, you got to have that that social media interaction, because when we put your album out, we need to know who's going to buy it, or who's going to stream it. So unfortunately, those things are what the labels look at. And it causes them to overlook some very important talent.
Yeah, I can say so. I know plenty of people personally who I think are well able to be those A-listers, singers, and whomever, but because they only have 200 followers, they don't even bat an eye.
Yes.
So I think that is a very unfortunate case, but I also feel like it is very possible to get yourself out there a lot more than it was in the past, where you had to be like Tony Braxton singing at a gas station to be discovered. Now you can just go on Instagram and hope to God somebody clicks the video.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So this has been a great learning experience for myself.
Thank you.
And if you could just share any words of motivation to anyone who is out there trying to pursue becoming a super producer or becoming that next artist, or just great at whatever it is that they're passionate about. Do you have any words that you would share?
I would definitely say, because, of course, it's what I believe in, so I don't want to enforce what I believe on other people. But God definitely is the author of your gifts and your talents. It means nothing if you pursue all of this and don't know what his purpose is for your life.
Right.
So I definitely encourage people to ask God, why did you give me these gifts? So that he can tell you, so that when you go off into your journey of being successful, you can keep that in mind, because people lose themselves before they even find themselves. Woo! Dang it. I gotta use that one. Oh wow! That's the first time. Okay, that's deep. People lose themselves before they even find themselves.
You're gonna have to put that one in some quotations. And Wow, that was a very powerful statement. I'm gonna have to go sit in my little corner and think about that too. Send a personal message, be like, you sent Troy this way, and he said something profound. So yeah, that was very beautiful, and I think that should really help everyone out there who's looking to advance in their passions.
Yes.